Let's continue with our discussion of the certification test pseudocode system in this second of 3 video lessons. In many languages, some operations are used so often that the language developers decided to provide some useful shortcut operators like the ones you see here. The ++ operator can be placed in front of a numeric variable called a pre-increment, or behind the variable, a post-increment, and simply adds 1 to that variable. Printing is a common feature of all languages as a way to display the results of a program. For the certification test code examples, these represent the extent to which anything might be printed. The most fundamental aspect of any program is the data, and these represent the basic types of data you can expect to see in the code examples on the test. There are 3 main types of data in any programming language system: numeric, text-based, and Boolean. The Boolean data type has only 2 values, true and false. One of the 2 text-based data types is the char, which is an abbreviation for character, and can be any single character that can be produced on the keyboard. Many others are also available in various character sets like the ASCII chart or the Unicode system. Skipping down to the string data type, this is literally a string of characters, or a word, sentence, or any collection of characters all in a row. A string variable can contain anywhere from 0 characters, considered an empty string, or up to 256 characters, the standard limit for many programming languages. Literal string values are always expressed inside a pair of double quotes. Numeric data types come in 2 flavors: integers and floating point values. An integer is any whole number, positive, negative, or 0. This pseudocode system uses 2 different integer types, int and short. The most commonly used one is int, but occasionally short may appear in some examples. The primary difference in these 2 is the range of values each can contain. The other numeric data type is for storing what we commonly refer to as decimal values, more accurately known as floating point values. A decimal value can be stored in a float or a double variable. The difference is less about the possible range of values they can store and more about the precision that can be represented by each value. All these data types can store one single value of the type associated with them. But at some point, collections of each type need to be stored, which most typically is through the use of an array, or list, of each of these types. An array can be of any data type, but can only store that particular type of data. An array is expressed using the data type to be stored, followed by a pair of square brackets, or simply the word array. Multi-dimensional arrays can also be created, most common of which are 2-dimensional arrays, often called grids to envision a table of rows and columns, much like a checkerboard or seats in a traditional classroom. Technically speaking, a 2-dimensional array is an array of arrays, where each row of the grid is a single-dimensional array, and the columns in each row the individual elements of each array. Here are several examples of how arrays might be expressed. In addition to declaring arrays, it is very important that you know how to access elements of an array. This is accomplished by using the indexing process, where the array object is listed, followed by a value inside square brackets. This is used for retrieving values as well as for assigning new values to positions in an array. Look carefully at the examples of array indexing found on these 2 pages, pausing the video as you need to. Work carefully through the sequence of commands and see the result of each statement. We've reached the end of the second of these 3 discussions on the pseudocode system for the certification test. Now go on to the last of the 3 lessons.